Katie Turk are the best. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. First, I have to say a big thank you to two of my favorite people, Ethan and Katie Turk. They were nice enough to send this bottle to me for me to do a review of. I can't say thank you enough to Ethan and Katie, two incredibly awesome people. So rather than me gush about them anymore, let's go ahead and get into the review. So what exactly is this? So this is from Woodinville Whiskey Company. This is their 100% cask strength rye whiskey. And as you'll see as we'll get into it, this is an absolutely incredible rye whiskey. So this is coming in, again, cask strength, 115.12 proof or 57.56% ABV. MASHBILL is 100% rye grain that Woodinville sources on their own, does all of that to produce this fantastic rye whiskey. It is non-age stated, and the MSRP on this is right around that $70 price point. So let's go ahead and get into this review. This is something when I first got into it and tried it, I was a little bit skeptical. Typically 100% rye is not always my thing, but as you'll see as we'll go through it, this changed my perspective of that for sure. So color-wise, as you can see, kind of a light copper, maybe light amber type of color. So, all right, let's get into the nose. So for me, the nice part about this was immediately was this fantastic, sweet mint note. Really nice, like creamy, like caramel apple, like a sweet rye. There's nothing that's pungent about this rye at all. And at times when you get into 100% rye, you can get that heavy rye or rye bread aspect. And sometimes it can be so dominant that it's a little bit off-putting. But so far, this rye is the opposite of that. Even at 100% rye, you've got some of those sweet characteristics. Even a bit of like a toasted coconut on this. Maybe even some butterscotch. It's a very non-typical rye nose so far in terms of what it is that you're kind of, what it is that I'm picking up. Nice medium oak presence. There's even a bit of a tropical fruit aspect to it. There's this sweetness, like a juicy fruit bubblegum aspect that's there. Maybe some slight citrus notes. This is kind of a combo of both an orange and a lemon, so you pick up a little bit of that orange sweetness with a little bit of that like lemon tartness. You're still picking up a little bit of that like kind of caramel covered green apple or a green apple covered, it's really nice. I mean, it's like a caramel apple type of aspect to it. Maybe even a slight or light cinnamon notes that's there. Really interesting nose, I would say, on a 100% rye whiskey. And there's not a lot of them that are out there. So it's a different profile. It's not something that a lot of people are overly familiar with because it can be a very difficult thing to kind of work with. Rye it's a really fussy kind of grain and it can go in a lot of different directions. And so far this one, in terms of what Woodinville has done with it, is really interesting. I'm loving the nose so far, but more importantly, let's see how this one is going to taste. Turk's rule. That rich caramel apple is incredible on this one. Nice mint note. Nice rye bread aspect. Again, now, so here's where some of the rye is going to kick in. Not as much or as dominant as you would expect. There's those rye notes for sure. And again, this is a little bit more of that rye bread aspect that's there. That caramel apple is so dominant It's incredible, fantastic. Nice mint, like I said before. Maybe even some almond, nice coconut aspect that's there to it. This is one of the most unique and different rye whiskeys I think I've ever had. So very different and unique, not only from the nose, but so far to the palate. And one of the other things I would say is it's got a lingering spice that is like one of the more intense baking spices that you'll get. So a lot of those nutmegs and the cinnamons, maybe even a touch of clove, not overly dominant on the clove aspect, but that baking spice is really, really nice in this one. Slight chocolate aspect to it. Again, I get more of a baker's chocolate, and I associate baking chocolate with, again, a little bit of that chocolate aspect, just with not all of the sweetness that's there. So if anyone's ever experienced, you know, baking with chocolate or a baker's chocolate, you'll understand that profile of where you get like maybe even more of a cacao or something along those lines, where you're just not getting the overall like sweetness you get from either a dark chocolate or a milk chocolate. Also a bit of a dark fruit on this one as well. Just that baking spice, that caramel apple. The spice I'm having a hard time like getting away from. I mean, it's just lingering there. Nice long finish on this one. A little bit of cinnamon. Again, those baking spices are definitely there. Again, with the 100% rye, you're going to have to expect to get some spice. It's not super dominant, but it's definitely there. So you'll have to evaluate this from a standpoint of if you appreciate a rye whiskey that's got some nice spice to it, but still with some other, you know, fantastic flavors and profiles on this. That caramel apple, you know, those mint notes that are there, the baker's chocolate. It's a really, really fantastic 100% rye whiskey. I'm thankful that they sent me this. I mean, it's a really different, unique, you know, profile on a rye whiskey. And this is one that I hope a lot of people really have an opportunity to, I guess, kind of have a chance to try this one. I mean, I'm hoping that they start to kind of get this out to more people. I mean, it's a really nice, you know, rye whiskey. And one thing I would say is, I mean, at 115 proof, you're not being dominated by that proof really at all. It does have a nice mouthfeel to it, so that's kind of, you know, lingering there as well. But overall, it's an incredible rye whiskey. And I think this is probably, again, in that 5, maybe 6 year-ish kind of range. So not a lot of age, but on a rye whiskey, they develop a little bit quicker, faster in terms of the profiles of them. So when you start getting into that 5-6 year range, something along those lines, you're starting to get a really nice, well-balanced rye whiskey. So, you know, there you have it. I can't say, you know, thank you enough. One other thing I'll say is a little bit of a coffee or espresso note kind of popped in there, like for me at the very end. So this has got a lot. I would imagine that as you sit down with this, it may develop even a little bit more. So that's always a fun thing to sit down, kind of experience the different, you know, layers that a whiskey has. So there you have it from Woodinville Whiskey Company. This is their cask strength 100% rye whiskey. Comes in 115.12 proof. Fantastic rye whiskey. I would encourage anybody who has the ability to purchase this, do not hesitate. Just buy it. I think you'll really appreciate what it is that it has to offer. So again, thank you so much to Ethan, Katie, Turk. You guys are the best. I really greatly appreciate you guys sending this thing to me. So there you have it from Woodinville Whiskey Company. Again, this is their cask strength 100% rye whiskey. So want to say thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my reviews. Appreciate all the support, everybody tuning into the the reviews. Make sure you like and subscribe. It helps to kind of build the channel a little bit more. We're pushing towards that 10,000 subscriber mark at this point, kind of early part of June of 2021. So thank you for all the support. Greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can through my Patreon page. Also, that gets you part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club. So Jason and I from the Mash and Drum, we have the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club where we do barrel picks. So make sure you check the link in the description below. That will get you part of all of that as well. So again, thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my reviews. Greatly appreciate all of that. And remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.